Please welcome the director of War Horse, Steven Spielberg. What first drew you to the project? Was it the Michael Morpurgo book? Because as we know, that became the basis for an extremely popular play that has run to great success both in London and now in New York. But was it the novel?
It was both. The book I read first, but the book is told from Joey's point of view. So the book basically is a horse narrating the experience that he had in Devon and in the Somme in World War I. The play, of course, uses spectacular puppetry to really create an emotional experience for the audience. The book made me see the spine of the narrative, and the play made me see the emotional potential for a film adaptation. So it was really a combination of both.
And I'd like to know if there was one scene or sequence in the film that was the most technically challenging to do, and also if there was one that was the most challenging, say, in terms of the emotional arc of the film or the storytelling of it.
I can answer that question easily because the single most technical challenging sequence in the picture is when Joey runs through no man's land by himself at night, starting with being backed up by the tank, and then leaping over the tank and just running that blind, panicked, headlong run through no man's land and getting caught up in all that barbed wire. That was the most challenging because the only thing any of us cared about was that not a single horse was going to ever be injured making this picture. This picture wasn't worth the injury to a horse. So it took us much longer to shoot that scene because we had to make sure that every single shot was safe for the horse. And that was and it was also at night, which means we're up all night, which is no fun when you're making a movie.
And where was the film shot?
It was shot in England, all over around Richmond, England, Luton Hoo, Castle Combe. We shot on the Duke of Wellington estate, which is like 11,000 amazing acres. We shot on the moors in Devon, Dartmoor. So we shot all in that area.
You know, a lot of people are going to wonder where the young man who's the star of the movie, who's not going to be familiar to most audiences, came from, Jeremy Irvine. Yeah,
well, Jeremy, you know, obviously he's British, and we looked in the UK for the right actor. I wanted an unknown to play Albert. I didn't want a well-known actor to play him, and so we started looking for unknowns, and part of that is just going through who's in theater currently, who's going to acting class, who's in school studying acting, who just wants to volunteer to come in to read for our casting directors. And so we really looked just for unknown actors, and it took months to find the right actor. Jeremy came in right in the middle of the casting process, and I saw him right, you know, midway through casting, and felt that I'd found my Albert. But I thought, well, if I found him this early, there must be somebody better. So I looked for another 4 months, and then got on an airplane, went to England to meet him in person. And once I met him and tested him again, I think he tested 6 times, I realized that we weren't going to do any better than Jeremy.
How much work does a script go through after you see it and decide you're interested in it?
Well, there's a lot of scripts that I work on that I wind up never directing. Some of them go into my company and they're produced and they're made into movies, and some of them just disappear or get put in something we call turnaround. They go back to the writer. But you know, a lot of drafts. I just believe in that every movie has. You can't start a movie by having the attitude that the script is finished, because if you think the script is finished, your movie is finished before the first day of shooting. To me, it's fluid. It's always it's a living organism. A movie script is a living, breathing organism, and it must change as we change daily. And that means the script has to be available for an actor who has a great idea and comes to me, and I go to the writer. We work the idea in. So in that sense, War Horse probably went through about 25 revisions within the 4 months of shooting in England.
How much do you and John Williams talk about the way music is used as a narrative tool?
Well, you know, next year it'll be our 40th anniversary of working together exclusively. He's been my composer on every movie since Sugarland Express, so in 1972. So we have a shorthand. He always sees the movie early, and then he just goes away. And I don't see him. And then I get a phone call, and he says, "You want to come over to my office? I want to play you some themes." And I go over to the office, and he sits down behind his Steinway, and he starts playing me themes. And it's been that way for almost 40 years. And I love everything he's ever written, but some scores that he sketches on the piano have a very profound effect on me. And plays me 3 themes from this movie, and I was a goner. I was just, 3 handkerchiefs right there. I started, shooting movies professionally in 1969, and I started making movies as I said, when I was a kid, when I was 12 years old. And I had that same feeling of, I cannot wait to do this. I cannot wait to get up in the morning to do. As nervous as it makes me, I cannot wait to shoot a movie, to tell a story. And it's the same feeling I had as a kid that I still have today. That has not changed. Outwardly, I changed. We grow up. I've got a lot more knowledge. I've got a lot more information. I got more war wounds. But what never changes is the passion that is no different than it was when I first picked up my first camera when I was a little kid.
I'd like to thank our audiences here and in other cities for being here. Thank you very, very much to Steven Spielberg. The movie opens December 25th.
Thank you very much.